This week, a normal night out in Bangkok turned into one of Thailand's deadliest nightlife disasters in nearly 2 decades. Dozens of people never made it home, and now investigators think this recent tragedy may be exposing a common trend when it comes to the mistakes that were made. Today, we'll break down exactly what happened, the latest updates from the investigation, and why many people, including myself, seem to be asking the same question. Why does this appear to keep happening? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. You know, if you've been here for a while, that we like to have fun here. But of course, something that comes with reporting on the news is every once in a while, there's a story that is not fun. Today's video is a difficult one, but I do think it is an important one to talk about. As always, nothing in this video is a declaration of guilt. I'm not an investigator. I'm not informed on the legal side of things. Nobody really is. Today, we're just going to be covering the facts that we know so far. There may be a hint of speculation here and there, but I have done my best in all of this research to make sure we avoid anything that is not confirmed yet. But understandably, there are a lot of people that want answers, and when they aren't getting them, some things just kind of get tied together, even though they might not necessarily be true. But let's get started. Earlier this week, fire broke out shortly before midnight at Rong Bir Nad La Prao in Bangkok. The venue was crowded, with customers enjoying live music. Initial reports confirmed 27 fatalities, but over the following days, the death toll continued to rise as critically injured victims succumbed to their injuries, reaching at least 33. Dozens more remained hospitalized. Understandably, many victims suffered severe smoke inhalation in addition to burns. Now, I'll be honest, over the past couple of days, I've been following this very closely because, of course, I wanted to make this video for you guys to make sure we could all stay informed. This was a really hard one for me to keep up with personally because I felt like this could have so easily been a place that I was in. If you haven't been here for very long, I was a DJ for a very long time back home. I've had my fair share of nights out at the bar with my friends. I really enjoy live music. So I've thought about all the nights I've been out just having fun. And the reality is, especially if you got some drinks in you, you're having a good time. A lot of people aren't going to be really looking around for safety. You know what I mean? A lot of people, if you're the one in the friend group who's saying, hey, I don't know, this place doesn't look very safe, you're probably going to get a lot of people telling you to just relax and probably thinking that you're a bit of a wet blanket. This one was really hard for me to cover. There is a decent amount of video footage out there, which I will include here, but I'm going to go ahead and leave the audio out of it because, of course, with the fire, there's a lot of people inside. The screams are very hard to hear. But yeah, this is one that's hit very close to home for me, and I'm sure it can be the same for you as well. Now, of course, this is still an ongoing investigation. However, over the past couple of days, investigators, like we mentioned, have had a lot of outside pressure to figure out why this happened and how it can be avoided in the future. And understandably, one of the first things they're looking at is negligence. Preliminary evidence points towards an electrical problem, with investigators examining reports of an overloaded electrical system and a possible short circuit. Authorities are also investigating whether emergency exits were obstructed or inaccessible. They're also examining whether interior materials contributed to how quickly the fire spread. More than 100 witnesses and people connected to the venue have been interviewed. The pub where the fire occurred, located in northern Bangkok, also pledged its full support to the investigation and quote-unquote transparent fact-finding process, as officials have flagged inquiries into whether exits were accessible. Most of the victims were found trapped in windowless bathrooms near one of the rear exits. That exit was not used, and people may have been blocked from reaching it by a table set up to sell candy or because it was too dark to find a way out. Access to another exit near the kitchen might have also been narrowed by shelving units and lockers, according to the police chief who visited the scene on Monday. There were signs that at least some of the exit doors might have been locked, he also added. In a video shared by the Office of the Prime Minister, during an inspection of the scene, the leader was told a door that was once an exit was bolted, with the proprietor afraid that customers would slip out without paying their bills. The door did have a sign that said staff only and could open to the outside, but an official told a Newton customers would have not been aware. Quote unquote, if they had run this way, it would have been fine. Police will also examine whether flammable materials were used in decorative elements and how electrical wiring was installed across the ceiling. Many who survived the blaze unscathed only did so by luck, such as Kwewudon Prapagni, 24, a pub employee who had been using a bathroom outside when the fire began. He saw people running away from the flames and began shouting for his brother, but, quote unquote, the heat was unbearable and I couldn't get back in. His younger brother, Pong Paset Pong Pani, also worked at the pub, was inside at the time. The brothers were migrant workers from neighboring Laos. Pong Pani came to the police hospital morgue on Monday in order to identify the body of his brother. Quote unquote, I want to bring him back home to my parents. My parents are waiting for the kids to come back together, but now one is gone, he said. Now, as of right now, granted, still ongoing investigation, but as of right now, it is pointing towards the cause being some type of electrical malfunction. There are some videos from inside the venue right before the fire started. You can see smoke. For the most part, it does seem like it's coming from the stage, which would absolutely make sense, especially when it comes to live music. If you don't know, all those amplifiers, sound systems, they are drawing a ton of current. And if the building wasn't wired for that specifically, it can get very dangerous very quickly. If you have people haphazardly wiring things, not using the correct gauge of wires, or not having the proper breakers installed, it is very, very easy to start a fire. So like we said, nothing is completely confirmed yet, but that would honestly make a lot of sense. And as we mentioned, a lot of people want answers for a multitude of reasons, not only the loss of life in this story, but we'll also jump into a few other ones that we will begin to see somewhat of a trend. But of course, parents, friends, boyfriends, girlfriends of these victims that lost their lives in this fire are pushing for police to make an effort to make sure this doesn't happen somewhere else in the city. Bangkok authorities have ordered citywide inspections of entertainment venues. They've begun reviewing licenses and safety compliance across Bangkok. Some venues have already been ordered to suspend or restrict operations pending inspections. Officials are also discussing broader reforms to entertainment venue regulations. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of locals who are somewhat questioning how these possible reforms or inspections will go, because in reality, this is not the first time something like this has happened in Thailand. Heading all the way back to 2009, the Santika Club fire that happened on New Year's Eve, 67 people lost their lives, more than 200 injured. The fire spread rapidly through indoor decorations and raised major questions about exit and occupancy laws here in Thailand. The Mountain Bee nightclub in 2022, located in Satahip, 13 deaths, more than 35 serious injuries. Investigators found multiple safety violations, as well as multiple hotel fires that have also happened throughout the years, also causing loss of life. And the sentiment of a lot of people currently seems to be that every time something like this does happen, the conversation around it is the same. There's talk of reform, more inspections, law changes, and then nothing really ends up getting set in stone. Third-party fire safety experts were quoted by AP and Reuters saying that Thailand doesn't lack regulation. They're questioning whether the current system adequately covers all venues and how consistently rules are actually enforced. Some businesses operate under classifications that face different safety requirements. Certain entertainment laws date back decades and may not reflect today's nightlife industry. Experts say inspections often focus on licensing categories rather than how a venue is actually used, and officials have acknowledged the need to review the legal framework. Now, of course, it would be entirely unfair to suggest that every venue in Thailand is unsafe. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, bars and clubs all across the country that essentially have a perfect safety record, that are up to very recent regulations, or a lot of the time what ends up happening is if you have foreign business owners that come in, open places, and then they just kind of stick to the standard that they're used to from their home country. But when tragedies like this seemingly continue to happen, understandably, there are serious questions being raised about not only regulations overall, but how those regulations are being enforced on the day-to-day. Now, of course, the vast majority of visitors, you, if you're planning a trip to Thailand soon, will never experience anything like this. But of course, like we always say, it only takes one time. It's still smart to be aware of emergency exits whenever, entering a crowded venue. Avoid overcrowded venues if possible, and always stay aware of your surroundings. I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, my brain tends to go to safety. If you've been here for a while, you might remember our New Year's Eve video where we went to a very popular New Year's Eve destination here. and it was just so crowded and impossible to move anywhere. My brain just already starts going, well, what if something happened? Or what if there's a crowd surge and all these people can't move, or you can't breathe? Or if somebody falls down and has a heart attack in the middle of this crowd, it's going to take, emergency responders way too long to get here. So this isn't me saying that you need to be the guy that walks into a venue and starts pointing at everything, but it is important to at least be somewhat aware of where you are and what you can do if something happens. Now, recently, I had a friend who was visiting Vietnam. He stayed in a hotel, and then it got a bit later in the evening. He decided he wanted to go out to 7-Eleven or wherever, get some snacks, or maybe go grab a beer. I don't remember what it was, probably a beer, knowing him. But he was staying in this hotel. When he went downstairs, it was late at night. The owners, because whether it be a staffing issue or a safety issue, they had essentially padlocked the front doors from the inside, so nobody could get out of the building. This is, of course, unsafe for a multitude of reasons. Granted, I've never seen that in Thailand personally, but these are the types of things you have to be aware of, right? When I moved into my new condo, one of the first things I did was pay attention to where the fire exit is. So those are important things to at least keep an eye on. One of my favorite things about Thailand, as opposed to America, is Thailand tends to just kind of let people do their own thing for the most part. As long as you're not bothering anybody else, you're not breaking any laws, of course. The amount of government oversight I really enjoy, right? But the truth is, for a lot of the things, a lot of like that red tape oversight that we have in a lot of places, especially when it comes to things like this, it's because of situations like this. It's because, yes, the vast majority of the time, nothing goes wrong. But when it does, it's important to have specific standards to make sure people can be safe, right? So I really think it's somewhat of a trade-off. If you enjoy just kind of being able to do your own thing, yes, that's great. And you can do that in Thailand. But trying to find that happy middle ground where you still allow people to do what they want to do. You don't have crazy amount of, red tape that keeps people from investing in things or starting their own businesses. But also you have just enough to keep people safe. I really expect that with this most recent tragedy, that things will push more to that oversight. But just like anything else, we're going to have to wait and see. Of course, this story is going to keep developing. I think this investigation is going to continue for an extensive period of time. I hope that the families and the friends of the victims do get some type of answers and hopefully some type of closure, or, just some peace of mind that knowing things are going to be done so this doesn't happen to anybody else. I will be sure to keep you guys updated on any major changes. If you do have any questions or anything like that, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I have been reading and watching videos on this for the past 2 days. I am honestly ready for a bit of a break. It has kind of bummed me out, but like we said, I do think it is important. So if you did make it this far in the video, thank you so much for hanging out. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.